there's so much talk about these social networks like MySpace and Facebook, and even my 9-year-old daughter recently asked me if she could join one of them. She wanted to be able to share things with her friends through them.
Okay.
So I'm very, very interested in knowing what your thoughts are about these social networks for children.
Well, some of the things that you need to be aware of is that you need to consider how they really will impact them both socially and emotionally. The social networks, for example, use the word friend, which is a completely different way that we may know what a friend is. The traditional notion of friendship is one of trust and support and sharing similar values. On a social network, a friend is someone whose link you have just clicked on.
That's it.
Yes, that's it.
And that's their friend.
That's right. So the meaning of friend as we may know it has, in my opinion, become devalued. Now, what does this translate to your daughter when, let's say, she gets a high number of friends that are part of her network? Does this mean that she becomes more, popular? Which leads us to another issue, especially for teens, who can become very competitive. I have 1,000 friends, and you only have 600. So, and also these network sites have places where people, can comment as well as they can comment on other friends' networks. So that this also opens up these incredible emotional landmines for social humiliation and possible bullying. Another thing you can do is explain to your daughter the difference between a friend and an acquaintance. Now, I mentioned about in social networks their meaning of what friend is. And let them understand that in these networks, they're more about making acquaintances than which are more superficial social interactions. And it's important for them to understand that what friends really are, what they really mean. And so what if they have 1,000 friends on this social network site that they have?
That they're really acquaintances.
Right. Ask them a question. Ask them, out of the 1,000 friends that you have, how many would actually be there for you if you really needed them?
That's excellent. I like that.
Would 1,000? Or would there only be maybe a handful that really matter?
That they can easily understand.
Absolutely.
Right. That's great.
Absolutely. Another thing you can do, Denise, is talk about empathy and how it would feel if someone put a mean comment on someone's space. Empathy is the ability to understand someone's feelings or looking at it from another perspective. And to help your child look at this from this network perspective, what it would feel like if someone put a mean comment on their space. And the flip side of that, what would happen if they themselves said something on a site, which, as far as you're concerned, that's not appropriate and that's not going to be acceptable. Another thing that you can do, and parents can do this, and that is limit the amount of time that the child uses these sites per day. So you may want to instill, it's up to you, but you may want to instill a family restriction that no social networking can be done until the homework or the chores
Or both
are completed. The last thing, and I think this is actually the most important thing, encourage face-to-face social interactions as much as possible. Involve them in clubs, sporting activities, or groups that they're interested in. Remember, we want to create a balance of having real interactions that your child can have so that they can practice how to use these important social and emotional skills to relate to one another. We just don't want them to be completely online socializing. In fact, if you establish what I call the 80-20 social interaction ratio, which is, in this case, 20% of the time a child can spend on the social network, and yet on the other 80% of the time that they are involved in true interpersonal relationships. And this may counteract any side effects that these sites may incur.
I have to thank you. I have to thank you very much for your insights and also the facts. I didn't have those facts. Some of them are staggering. They really are. So thank you for that. It's really a different world out there. It's certainly not the world my parents had to deal with either, is it?
No. In fact, this year at social networks, God knows what it'll
Oh.
be next year. Right. You know, honestly, you know, Denise, the bottom line is technology's here to stay.
Yes.
And the fact that it's only get more complex and more sophisticated. So, as a parent, the best gift that you can give your child, in my opinion, is the power to relate. How to relate to one another.